Well, anyway, this is an update on my early days with Nelson and the mines that we lived in before. The first chapter, I sort of have it wrong. I thought it was Sheep Creek where we did most of the things, but it was actually in Jackpine, which was out of Invermere, the Jackpine mine. So as far as my sister says, when she was born, she lived with Grandma and Grandpa on the farm with Mom, and till after the war. And apparently then we lived up on CPR Hill, probably before I was born, or maybe when I was born. I was born in Enderby, so I guess before we moved to the mines, nobody can tell me now about that part, but we lived in Sheep Creek. I know that. That was a mine out of Selmo. And there's a story a couple of different stories about Sheep Creek that Uncle Bert he used to fish out the window at Sheep Creek. He'd hang his fishing line out the window, and then he'd sit and lay on the bed and play his guitar, waiting to catch a fish. And Donna remembers that Dad invited the superintendent and his wife for coffee, and Mom made a cake, and it fell in the middle, so she propped it up with a saucer and iced it all pretty, and she wanted to cut it in the kitchen, I guess, but Dad had her bring it out and cut it at the table. It was only a half an inch thick in the middle because she had the saucer in it to make it look good. She was so embarrassed and mad at Dad. He was a typical Stepp, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, the other stuff happened was at, I remember I guess Sheep Creek is when we used to go down to Weimar. That's where they had that cafe they call Slump's Dump. Anyway, up in Jackpine is where we lived out of Invermere, and there was a slide up there one time Donna told me about that. We're going back to the mine, that the road was really horrible, and it was a long, steep, banks down to this river, and very dangerous. And these mining trucks had come roaring down there. Anyway, there was a slide one time, and we were taking some lady back up with us to the camp, and then we stopped, and Dad carried me, and then Donna and the lady and Mom had to walk. Donna was only little, though, but I guess couldn't carry too many. But and then another time there was a doctor came to our house up there. There had been a real bad accident where somebody had gone over the bank and way down into the river or something down there. There had been people killed and hurt, and the doctor was so tired that he came and wanted to get a coffee, and he put 6 spoonfuls of sugar in it. And that's up at the mine there. That's where the coyote got stuck in the tractor or something. I don't know how we got it out. I think I said it in the other part. Donna told me about it. And we used to stick our heads and yell, "Bola, bola, bola," in the big bola, bola machine, we called it, where there was a wasp's nest in there. Good thing we didn't get stung. That was all at Jackpine, and also a time that we went to Sycamoose for Christmas one time, and we came back to the mine, and I guess we were late getting back, but the miners had bought us. We were the only kids up there. They had bought us all these presents. We had like 25 presents each or something under the tree, and Dodie and I forget her husband. They lived next door to us. I think I said her husband's name in the other part. But they lived next door. That's where the old Chinese guy, the old Chinaman, lived. He was the cook up at the camp in Jackpine, and he used to stick the chicken under my coat to take home, a cooked chicken or some cookies. Always gave something for Mom, and that's also where Mom had the cooler in the creek that her and Dad were working on, and I decided to look in it and fell in the creek and just about drowned. I got a scar on my forehead from that, and we went, Dad ran down the creek, and they turned around, and I was gone, and he went running down the creek and grabbed me by the hair and pulled me out. Anyway, Donna and Mom and them, they lived with Grandma and Grandpa on the farm, and then on the CPR Hotel Hill, and then Jackpine, and then Sheep Creek. So it was Jackpine first, then Sheep Creek, then Nelson. So I got the little bit wrong, but I'm not redoing it. So, and then I remember that story. I talked to Donna about it. She thinks things had happened twice. I'm not so sure, but Mom told me that it was when Dad came back from the war, and Mom was living on the farm, and she got Donna all dressed up. It was in the middle of the winter, and Donna had that little green plaid dress that she wore. Every picture I seen, she had the same dress. And they went across to meet Dad. Donna had never met him before because she was about 4 years old by then. And he came off the train, and he didn't even, he wouldn't pick her up to carry her across the train bridge even. And it was freezing cold. I thought, what kind of a person would do that? You either like kids. And so Donna said he did it another time when they were, when Mom was pregnant with me, and they were pregnant with me, and it was winter and cold, and she asked Dad to carry me, and he wouldn't carry me. They were going over to Auntie Vera's for dinner from CPR Hotel. The Finlaysons lived over in a big house on the other side of the river. So it was either, it doesn't matter when it was. It's just the fact that Donna was little, only about 4 years old, and Dad wouldn't pick her up. They never got along, those two. It's so sad because I think he resented her. I think he thinks that she was not his kid, and that when he came back from the war, she was already born, you see, and Mom was pregnant after he went to the war. And so he was kind of mean to Donna most of her life, and she hates him to this day. It's too bad, but she said she forgave him. But there's all kinds of, he always sided with me. I was like a spoilt little brat and could get away with anything. I was like the apple of his eye, and Donna was like the potato of his eye or whatever. He was never that nice to her. Like, he made her hold the flashlight when he went out under the house up in Sheep Creek or Jackpine to shoot the rat. She was scared out of her wits, And so I remember when we were teenagers, they never got along either. Dad was always kind of mean to her, and I think he thought, you see, Mom had a boyfriend before she met Dad, and Dad had a girlfriend, and the girlfriend dumped him, and then Dad was going out with Mom, and then he ended up talking Mom into marrying him. And I don't know, Mom told me once that he said he didn't, on their wedding night, he said he didn't even love her, or he didn't love her that much or something. I don't know. And Donna sent me this message, food for thought. Did I ever tell you that the woman that Dad was engaged to, and she dumped him, she was a nurse. When Donna lived in the apartments after Andre died, she didn't have a chance to talk to the nurse very long. She was leaving for a holiday in the States. And then Donna never seen her again, but she was the lady that Dad had gone out with him. But she said she dumped him. I don't know why, but and then Roy Butterworth was Mom's boyfriend, the guy that she was going out with when Dad ended up going out with Dad and marrying him. She was engaged to Roy Butterworth. I guess I don't know what happened between those two, but I think Dad always thought Donna was Roy Butterworth's kid, because that's why he didn't get along. Mind you, when you're 4 years old and you meet your dad the first time, you probably act strange, or make strange. Who knows? I don't know. It's really sad. It makes my heart bleed to think that my dad was like that, because he was exact opposite to me. Because it says here, the mom was engaged to Roy Butterworth. Mom was looking after her mother, and Roy's family was moving to the Yukon. She wanted to go with him, but she couldn't because she was looking after her mom. I guess this was when my mom was like 18 or 19 or something. And Roy's family, the Butterworths, were moving to the Yukon. She wanted to go with him. She always told me that if she had a stroke, I was not to look after her because it would change my life. I guess that's because she looked after her mother and never could marry that Roy. And then Donna met Roy years later at a Mara reunion, and so did a really nice man. They were here for a reunion. Because I remember Mum met him again at the reunion when Mum was old by this time, and he had cancer by then. Or maybe she met him at another reunion too. Donna says she was in her 20s. A really nice man. He was here for a reunion in Mara. But I know Mum met him when she was in her 60s or 70s, and 60s, I guess. And Donna said she was like a giddy little schoolgirl. She was so excited to meet him again. I guess he was kind of like the love of her life, you know. And but she stuck with my dad so good all the time. He was sick and everything. So anyway, life is weird, and it's too bad things like that happen to people. You know, it's like so. Anyway, I love my sister very, very much, and I love my mom, and I loved my dad too. So that's too bad things like that happen. But anyway, that's the little end of this chapter. So thanks.